Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Wormhole, the show where we take a look at first impressions of indie games primarily. I'm your host, Wormeck, and today we're taking a look at Valdis' story, Abyssal City. This is kind of an interesting game. It's one of the first games by a company called Endlessfluff Games. It came out back in September. It's available on Steam currently, and it's a metroidvania with kind of a cool art style and pretty good music, and does a lot of things right in the metroidvania genre. A lot of the time there's, they have aspects of exploration, but not a whole lot of kind of good combat or something like that. This kind of has a little bit of everything. It reminds me a lot of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, for example. Just before we start, though, I do want to take a quick look with you guys at this options menu. Now, I don't normally go into options menus, and I know some people that watch my channel are not crazy fans of looking at options, but there's a reason in this case. This is it. This is all the options there are. There's really nothing here. I mean, in terms of resolution, you really have nothing other than full scale or not. Scale here just basically is kind of like the zoom in on your character, which is not super useful. And that's it. You have high and low. So very, very basic graphics. The controls themselves are kind of rebindable, which I strongly suggest you do because the default controls for a keyboard are pretty awful. You can play with them. I got used to it. But I'm going to be using a gamepad over here, the Xbox 360 pad particularly, because it is considerably better, and I just messed up my buttons. Let's not change that before doing a video. So yes. So I just wanted to go over that because that kind of is one of those things that irks me a little bit. Now, Valdis' story, like a lot of the really popular metroidvania games such as Symphony of the Night, does have multiple characters to choose from. They do play differently. They have different special abilities as well as different attack types. So I'm going to be showing you some gameplay of Wyatt Goibniu and Rena Gaius I will not be touching on. I tried her briefly just to confirm that there was a difference, and she's more of like a monk character with a little bit different spells, but she's much more really short range attacks, and she is a little bit trickier to play compared to Wyatt. I have advanced a little bit already in this game, so I wanted to give you a better idea a little bit further on rather than the initial stuff, since a game like this style of game generally expands a lot as you advance, and I wanted to be able to go over some of the more advanced mechanics in it. So I'm going to load up my game as Wyatt. Now this game does have kind of an interesting story behind it. Basically, the world is full of angels and demons that are at war with each other. You are on a ship that ends up sinking, and with that you kind of end up in this city that has been lost forever, and the angels and demons are fighting here, as well as these things called ferals. But that's kind of the gist of it. You're trying to find your crewmates who have been kind of scattered throughout the place. So there's a little bit of a kind of collection thing. It encourages you to look back over the previous areas. There's sometimes hidden bosses and that kind of thing. So in terms of the buttons, you probably saw me running around a little bit there. So you do move pretty quick. I mean, you have really good air control. No real complaints there. You obviously have your jump. You have light attacks, heavy attacks. You can block. This down is actually a skill cancel. It also lets you dash if you do it and then move to the side right away. It also drops you straight down in the air, so you can kind of use that to quickly avoid enemy attacks. This dash also goes through enemies, so you don't collide with things. You can bypass obstacles and so on. So it's pretty cool. You also have, if you hold down on the gamepad the right trigger, you have this, which charges crystals after a little bit. You don't get that ability right away, but you get it pretty early on. And this is also for your spells. So you hold this down, and then either in the air you have a spell, you can do up, down, and the sides. And all that can be customized. So this little ice spell is kind of cool. It actually makes a little platform you can stand on, which actually I'm going to do over here so that I can try and get... Oh, fail. Yeah. So along the top there in the UI, that yellow bar is basically it's called focus. It's essentially my kind of super mode. The red bar is health, blue is mana. The purple thing is my skill cancel, so you can see that kind of empty as it goes out. In combat it doesn't come back that quickly, so you can't just constantly dash and dodge through things. You actually have to use normal movement. The red potion thing on the top is kind of life potions. It's kind of lives, essentially. If you run out, it'll use one automatically to bring you back. Same thing for the blue potions for your mana. And you got your weapon, your armor. There's a slot for accessories, which I don't have, and then the last icon there, which is currently a woman's face, is assists, so you can call in characters you've met along the way to kind of help you out. Now, before I go too into the gameplay, I'm just going to kind of do a quick run through of all of this stuff, because this stuff's pretty important, and the game doesn't explain a lot. In a lot of these metroidvania type games, you kind of end up being set free and just kind of having to do your own thing. There's not a lot of instruction on where exactly things are. You'll get kind of vague things like go west or go beneath this place, and you kind of have to remember where that is and kind of learn a lot of things yourself. So this is where you can kind of change your equipment and stuff. You can see I can take off my weapon if I wanted to and get extra XP, but no thanks. And you get different armors you can put on. You'll notice these also say level 1 currently. You can upgrade them throughout the game. Don't have any accessories. I only have the one assist currently. And you have special finishing moves, which again I only have one. And you got the various stats. There's lots of stats. You can actually go over these and it'll tell you what they all do, which is kind of neat. This is soul affinity, so you get kind of like you have souls, which you'll see a little bit more in a minute. And as you kind of equip them and choose how you're gonna spend your skill points, it'll actually increase towards one soul or the other, which gives you different stat bonuses at certain kind of tiers. And focus is the special ability that I mentioned. So these are kind of like your spells. These are the different slots that I mentioned. So you have the air, up, side, and down. And these are the different souls that I currently have with their levels. These can be leveled up through an NPC that you can find. He is missable, so if you don't explore around a lot, you can actually miss important things in this game. And you can change these to each different soul. So I could do on my air attack a black rain that damages and drains life. Small wisps, and Arctic Javelin. I'm mostly going light for now, so I'm kind of doing that. Up is your default heal over time on this character. On Reyna, the female character, it is an instant heal, but it heals for much less. This is your skill tree, so typical kind of RPG element. As you level up, you get a point, you put the point in things, and you kind of branch down, so you have to have these two, for example, to get this guy, and so on going down the line. Not really a whole lot complicated there. It kind of is tiered in melee, for this character specifically, melee, defensive, and more spells. Items, very intimidating. Basically there's a crafting system, so these are just kind of drops. Nothing super important. Key items are your special skills and abilities, that kind of stuff. And map, and again the options screen. So the map can also just be accessed anytime with one of the buttons. So yeah, it's kind of the bulk of it. So here I can show you the little summon that I have right now. It's super important. Apparently I'm in the sewers. So the combat in this game is actually quite challenging. So the bosses will mess you up. And as you can see, enemies don't play it lightly. This thing is, I'm assuming this is going to be for something else later, but right now I can't do anything with it. It's just a lore thing that involves the survival of humanity and heat or something. What's this? A laser trap. There are kind of environmental traps as well. Okay, that's another enemy. I'm assuming that Halo was probably a shield. Yeah. And you can wall jump. You don't start with that, but you get it pretty early on. I feel like I should go back and explore that side room. typical Metroidvania style gameplay in that you can't always get everything the first time you go through an area. Don't fall! Just you have to touch to pick up the items. I hate these guys. In this case I'm fighting angelic enemies. They will actually occasionally revive the allies if you leave the greater enemies alive, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but it's a very cool gameplay mechanic, and it makes the enemies a little bit, you can't just kind of prioritize only the weak ones and ignore the strong ones. Does this actually hurt me? Does not. I had to deal with some poison slime stuff earlier, so I wasn't too sure how that would work. Oh, this is probably one of my crew members. Alligath is the angels. So a lot of times you'll find your crew members either fighting enemies or just kind of chilling locked behind doors, so you usually get a little bit of kind of cool stuff. You get to see them doing things. And in this case, apparently he's just pretty awesome. It takes a little while before you actually start getting crew members, but once you do, you earn the library, which lets you collect the characters. So yeah, he's pretty beefy. The Hallow. Ooh, this is not going super well. And getting massive frame rate drops too along with this. Wow. I have a feeling I should not be in here, to be honest. Whoops. Yep. I just used 2 healing potions and I didn't even kill anything. Let's just get the hell out of here. Now, it's entirely possible that I was just doing terribly at the combat there, but I haven't had a fight that ridiculous. Even boss fights, I've not used that many items. So I may be in pretty bad shape if we end up fighting a boss here shortly. I hate these strong guys. I feel like there has to be a different way of dealing with them, because they just wreck me. Water current 2 is really making this hard. Wow. So I just got game over. I have never had that happen so far. Figures that while you're doing a video, of course, is when you're doing really worse. Let's just bypass him, because screw that fight. Now, I have this habit when I'm fighting things of trying to do combos with directional buttons, because I'm not sure why, but my brain keeps insisting that they exist in this game. They don't. So, doing kind of directions, while it isn't inherently an awful thing, I don't know what this unlocks. I want to find out though. Oh, that's just evil. Come on. Oops. I'm assuming the frame rate is, this is not normal for the game so far. It has had 0 frame rate issues the entire time, so it may be a result of the recording. I can't say if it's the area, unfortunately, because I haven't done this area prior to recording. So that may be a thing, but it seems to only be when I get into combat with some of the larger enemies, so... There's a lot of tricky platforming, and these timers are pretty unforgiving usually. You usually have to make pretty good use of your dashing to get through them without getting hit. Oh, this is the right way too. I would have made it if I hadn't stopped to fight. Survivability seems to be one of the main challenges. I got another life bottle apparently at some point. I don't know when that happened. And come on, laser, let's go. Ugh, damn it. Now, a lot of these chests randomly found around the areas can actually have really cool items in them. Sometimes you'll get special equipment or rare components for crafting, so it's definitely worthwhile to try and get those whenever possible. Damn it. As you can see, this is pretty tight timing, so if you mess up, that's pretty much it. You don't really get a second try if you fall somewhere. Oh, that saves me a couple seconds. I think I'm gonna be good this time. Yes. Adjudicator Radiant. That's most likely gonna be a new armor. Yes, it is. Plus skill cancel, critical attack, steal 1 mana. So Paladin armor is pretty cool, but I'll take more damage with this on, but it gives me an extra skill cancel, so I can actually, you see now I have 2 skill cancel bars, so I can actually use it twice before they start recharging, which in combat will be a huge blessing. So I'm definitely glad I took the time to get that. These statues are save points, they also fully heal you. Okay, those light doors you need to find a special thing for them. I really don't like the look of what's down there. Definitely much easier to fight. They freeze apparently. I didn't know that. So these here are charged by, like I mentioned earlier, holding down the button. Grand Agate. I'm assuming that's something useful for later. Oops. So here first. I don't like this. Trying to sprint through is a stupid idea. Not sure what that does. Book of the Old Gods is key item. apparently I trade for something. This is one of those games that I've definitely been enjoying. I had originally planned to just kind of start it to see how the... No, sorry. Yeah, I just started it to kind of check out how the core combat kind of worked. Go, and yeah, let's go with this guy. Okay, so, as I was saying, I mostly kind of just started this kind of expecting to mess around with it a little bit, get used to how the game kind of works out and plays without really going through a lot of the spoiler kind of things and not really having played the game too much. But no, I don't want to fight you. I just want to go by you. Thank you. Okay, that timing was very forgiving because I needed to go this way. Okay, so this is most likely a boss, it looks like. Oh, I really hope the frame rate doesn't stay this bad the whole fight. Spells going. Alright, activate my special attack. I don't know if he's... There he is. Oh, that's just mean. On. What's going on? Oh, I'm silenced. Okay. Go away a little bit. So I have lots of armor-piercing attacks right now, so it's definitely helping me a lot against this. And you get a little rating. It actually increases your stats as well after you beat a boss, as you see, and that level. So I'll show you a quick level up here after this, and then we'll call it a night. I'm a dick. Okay, so take a quick look at leveling. So one skill point. One of the things I'm not super thrilled with it is that there's sometimes not really a big description. Like, for example, Holy Order. Chance weapon will cast Holy Order. No idea what that does. I looked, it's not a spell that I have somewhere else. There's no indication of what this will actually do. It sounds cool, and chance is determined by light affinity, so I'm getting it anyway because I have lots of light affinity, so it'll probably happen a lot. But it would be definitely a cool thing to see if they would tell you what that does. So stats here are pretty straightforward. You have HP and attack for your strength. Int is magic and resist. Luck kind of does a little bit of everything. This is misleading. It's not always 10 HP and 1 crit or anything like that. It seems like every time you spend a point, it changes what the stats are for the next one. And agility here gives you armor penetration, which is what attack ruin is, and crit chance, as well as focus. So I'm kind of going at the crit build at the moment because I've got this skill that I'm trying to grab, which will make it so that all my criticals will make an enemy bleed out and then eventually I'll be able to heal as enemies are bleeding. So that will be a big bonus for bosses where you can do a quick hit and run, or strong enemies you don't want to face too much one-on-one. So this is a pretty good setup. Focus is also pretty awesome. But yeah. So I think I am going to go with probably actually strength in this case. As little sense as that might make after what I just finished saying, but I don't know. The magic is also kind of kicking my butt though, so maybe I'll get int. So let's just go with int and call it a day there. So yeah, that's our look at Valdis Story. It's definitely a pretty cool game. I strongly recommend you guys check it out. It does have its flaws, as I said. You can do it with a keyboard. Won't be the greatest experience necessarily, but you can rebind it to make it a little bit more useful. If you have a gamepad, it's phenomenal. With the art style that it has, the resolutions aren't that big of a deal. It would have just been nice to be able to kind of customize that to make it fit a little bit more with what exactly you've got. But it's not terrible looking on its own, and I really like the kind of hand-drawn art style of this game. So there you go, that's our look at Valdis Story, Abyssal City, and until next time, that's Wormeck out. There's a lot of dismemberment. You can cut chunks off of guys. You can kind of be pretty brutal with them.